The desert world of Alcar 7 had not seen war for over 50 years. Sandstorms ruled its surface more than soldiers or machines, but one night, the sky turned red. A fleet of unknown ships entered the atmosphere and rained fire down on the old ruins and quiet cities. People screamed, alarms echoed across the dunes, and soldiers scrambled to answer a threat they didn't understand. Among the defenders was Lieutenant Rika Varn, a tall, silver-armored warrior with eyes as cold as steel. She was one of the elite. Zarnari, trained from childhood to fight with speed and precision. When the alarm started, she was already awake. Her fingers traced the grooves of her plasma rifle as she watched the red streaks in the sky. She didn't blink. She didn't breathe heavy. She only waited for orders to strike. The enemy didn't answer any hails. No words, no reasons. They just attacked. They destroyed everything in their path. Civilians, homes, towers, nothing was spared. The High Command called it a full invasion. Within 6 hours, every major base was either gone or surrounded. Rika and her unit were dropped near the remains of the old human sector. Their mission was simple: eliminate threats and protect the last evac routes. She had no hate for humans. The old war between Zarnari and Terrans had ended long ago. Peace had lasted nearly a century, but peace was fragile. She thought she'd never see another human battlefield. Now her boots stood on cracked earth, soaked in blood again. From a hill, she spotted movement. A lone figure sprinted through the ruins with unnatural speed. His armor was dark but unfamiliar. He wasn't part of the Terran military. His movements were too fluid, too dangerous. Rika raised her scope and tracked him through debris. Then he looked straight at her as if he knew she was watching. That moment stuck with her more than it should have. She gave the order. 3 snipers took position. The wind blew dust over the edge of the wall. Her team fired once, twice, but the man vanished before the 3rd shot. One moment he was in the open, the next he was gone. A shadow with a heartbeat. That night her unit was ambushed. The same man tore through half her squad, with nothing but a knife and grenades. His moves were brutal but clean, no wasted motion. He didn't shoot civilians. He didn't finish wounded soldiers. But he left a message in blood across the wall. I was never your enemy. Command didn't care. They called him a rogue. Agent, a Terran assassin. Rika received her new orders: find him and eliminate him at all costs. No trial, no capture. Just a clean kill. She didn't question it. She sharpened her blades and promised to end the ghost that haunted her thoughts. The next week turned into a chase across broken cities. He would appear, strike, vanish again. She studied his patterns. He hit fuel depots, drone factories, and corrupt supply lines. Always where the Zarnari leaders didn't want eyes. The more she tracked him, the less sure she felt. Then came the moment she found him. Her team surrounded a narrow corridor deep inside the wreckage of a crashed command ship. The man stood at the end, calm, arms slightly raised. No weapons in hand. Just calm eyes, steady breath, and something painful behind his voice when he spoke. You're not my enemy, Rika. I was sent to stop the real war. The one they started while you were sleeping. 17 lies, 17 wounds, 17 regrets. She fired the first shot, then another, then 15 more. Each shot burned, not just through his armor, but through her own resolve. He didn't fight back. He only spoke in broken breaths between impacts. Words like truth, betrayal, and sacrifice. When he fell, her hands trembled. Not from exhaustion, not from fear, from doubt. She walked toward him, but before she could kneel, he activated a hologram. It showed files, real ones. War logs, secret orders, proof of false flags. The Zarnari had framed the humans to restart the conflict. The mission was never justice. It was cover-up. Her knees hit the floor. The man was still alive, barely. He whispered again, weaker now. "You're not a killer, Rika. You're a soldier. Make them answer. Don't let them erase me." The red light of her visor blinked with the message. Target eliminated, but she didn't confirm the kill. She pulled out a med stim and pressed it against his neck. He coughed, then laughed weakly. "Didn't expect that," he said with a half smile. Rika didn't answer. Her orders were clear. Her instincts were clearer. She carried his body out of the ruins, her rifle dragging behind her. The war wasn't what it seemed. And her enemy wasn't who she had been told he was. Rika sat in the shadows of a ruined hangar, the silence heavy around her. The man she had shot now rested on a stretcher beside her, his wounds sealed with basic med foam. He was unconscious, but his breath was steady. She stared at his face, trying to understand why she had spared him. Her fingers curled tightly around her own helmet, as if afraid it might betray her thoughts. The files he had shown were still loaded on her private scanner. She had read them twice, then again with her heart sinking lower each time. High Command had lied. The attack on Alcar 7 was not unprovoked. It was staged. False reports, planted evidence, doctored images, all of it created to restart the war with humans. Her mission was based on a lie. She couldn't return to base. Not now. If they knew she had saved him, they would call her a traitor. If she exposed the truth, they would silence her. That meant she had only one path: run, hide, and find a way to broadcast the truth. She needed allies. And right now, her only one was the man she had nearly killed. He woke after 3 hours. His eyes flickered open, then focused on her. There was no panic, no fear, just tired calm. "Did you read it?" he asked. She nodded. "Then you understand why I couldn't shoot back." His voice was rough, but steady. He didn't try to sit up. He knew his body needed time to heal. "You were part of it?" she asked him. He shook his head. "No, I was one of the few who found out. The Zarnari think humans are weak, but we're not stupid. We track movement. We listen to patterns. And we caught whispers about your High Command wanting a reason to claim the outer sectors." His fingers twitched, still numb from nerve shots. "My name is Kale," he said. "I used to be part of Terran's Special Recon, but when I brought this data to my leaders, I was shut out. They didn't want a war, but they didn't want to cross the Zarnari either. So I came here alone, not to kill, just to stop it before it got worse." Rika didn't respond. Her jaw was clenched too tightly. Outside, a sandstorm had begun to build. It would cover their trail for a few hours. They needed to move before satellite drones resumed scanning. She helped Kale to his feet. He winced with each step, but didn't complain. Together, they moved through the ruins, deeper into the dead city. She knew a place where they could hide for the night. It was an old bunker from the last war. Abandoned, sealed, and long forgotten. But her squad had used it during training exercises. Inside, the lights still worked. She laid him down and placed her rifle beside the door. For a moment, there was only silence between them. Then Kale broke it with a question she hadn't expected. "Why didn't you finish me?" he asked. She looked at him, then down at her hands. "Because your eyes didn't look like a killer's, and the truth you showed me felt heavier than any order." He smiled weakly. "That's rare, especially in a Zarnari soldier." She ignored the comment and activated her link to scan nearby signals. A drone was circling the city edge. Recon type, not armed, but linked to the main command net. If it found them, strike teams would follow. She shut down her signal before it could ping her location. "We have maybe 4 hours," she said. "Then we move again." Kale nodded and leaned back against the wall. His skin was pale, but his voice still carried strength. "You think they'll believe you if you show the files?" he asked. She didn't answer at first. Then she spoke with bitter certainty. "No, they'll call it fake. Or worse, say I was tricked. That's how lies work. They don't need to be strong, just loud. Kale exhaled slowly and looked toward the ceiling. Then we'll have to make the truth louder. She turned toward him sharply. We? He? Nodded. You didn't kill me. That makes you part of this now. Whether you like it or not. She didn't argue. Part of her hated it. But another part, the silent part deep inside, agreed. She had crossed a line the moment she used a med-stim on him. There was no turning back. Suddenly, an alert blinked on her visor. A message from her squad's tactical net. Her status had been marked Mia, missing in action. They had declared her dead, which meant she had a short window before they began scanning for movement near her last location. She looked at Kale. We leave now, she said. You walk or I carry you. Kale laughed, then stood slowly. I walk, he said. But I'm not fast. She helped him anyway. They left the bunker, stepping into the rising wind. 2 soldiers with no country, no orders, and no time. Just one broken truth that might start a real war or stop one forever. The desert wind howled louder as Rika and Kale moved through the ruins. The storm was stronger than expected. Fine dust stung their skin and made it hard to breathe. Rika's visor filtered most of it, but Kale had no helmet. She gave him a cloth to wrap around his face. He took it without a word. Each step left shallow prints in the sand behind them. They crossed what was once a market square. Burned carts, shattered walls, and melted metal told the story of recent battles. Kale limped, his legs still weak from the last wound. Rika kept close, watching every corner and rooftop. Drones weren't their only danger. Patrol teams had started sweeping the area since morning. We need to reach the satellite uplink tower, Kale said between breaths. That's where we can broadcast the files. The truth has to reach neutral channels, or it dies in silence, Rika nodded. She already had a route planned. But the tower was 6 kilometers north, and they had no transport. On foot, it would take them 3 hours if Kale could keep moving. A low hum echoed in the air. Rika shoved Kale behind a collapsed beam and dropped to her knee. A scout drone hovered overhead. Its lights blinked slowly, scanning the terrain. She held her breath and covered Kale's exposed foot with rubble. The drone passed, unaware. Only when the hum faded did she let him move again. Thanks, he said quietly. She didn't reply. Time was running short. Every drone increased the risk. Every delay made it harder. She checked the horizon. Faint shapes were approaching a small Zarnari recon unit, likely responding to the same drone scan. They had 10 minutes at best. Rika led Kale through a broken surface tunnel. The roof dripped with old coolant and mold, but it shielded them from heat sensors. Inside the dark passage, Kale spoke again. You know, I trained to fight your kind. I never thought I'd be running beside one. Rika's voice was cold but honest. I trained to kill humans, now I'm saving one. Life's funny like that. They exited near the edge of the ruined energy fields. In the distance, the old uplink tower still stood. Its top half was bent, but the signal dish still turned slowly. Rika narrowed her eyes. That tower's active. Someone's maintaining it, Kale frowned. Then someone else may be listening. Can we still use it? She pulled out a signal sniffer and scanned the range. There's a hidden repeater. Nearby, underground relay, not military, she said. We'll use that instead. Safer, less watched. Kale smiled faintly. Remind me not to question your instincts again. Rika rolled her eyes and helped him down the hill. The entrance was buried beneath loose rock. She used a charge to blow it open without sound, a trick from her black ops training. Inside, the relay station still had power. Emergency backup cells blinked weak green. Dust covered the panels, but the core systems worked. Rika sat Kale down and opened her ComPad. The files were still intact, secured with a triple-layered lock. She bypassed them quickly. She had read them too many times to forget the pattern. She uploaded the data into the repeater system. It would take 2 minutes to encrypt, then bounce through 5 shadow satellites before reaching civilian news hubs. Kale leaned forward. If this works, the war could stop. Or at least change. Rika didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed on the screen. 1 minute left. Suddenly, alarms blared inside the relay station. Someone had pinged the system, not from their side. Zarnari signals. They had been detected. Rika grabbed her rifle and moved to the door. You stay here. If I don't come back, send the file manually. Kale reached out to stop her, but she was already gone. She moved with practice speed through the hall, up the ladder, and onto the surface. 2 scout bikes were speeding toward the relay entrance. She dropped one with a shot to the engine. The second rider opened fire. Plasma bolts struck the wall beside her. She ducked, rolled, and fired again. The soldier crashed into rubble. She dragged the second one away and scanned his helmet. The data matched her unit's elite squad, which meant Command had guessed she wasn't dead. They were tracking her personally. That made her more dangerous than Kale. She returned to the bunker fast, her mind racing with the new risk. Inside, the file had finished bouncing. The light turned blue. Kale was holding the panel like it was sacred. It's out, he said. They have it now. They'll know. Rika lowered her weapon. No, they'll deny it. But the seed is planted. Now it grows. Her voice was steady, but her stomach twisted. A new signal buzzed on her wristband. It wasn't from Command. It was an unknown sender. A coded phrase blinked on her display. Truth confirmed. Help inbound. Trust the stars. Kale saw it too. His eyes widened. Someone believed it. Someone's coming. Rika looked at the storm outside and then at Kale. Then we run faster. Because now they'll hunt us harder. We hurt their lie. They won't forgive that. The air outside burned with dust and heat. The storm was beginning to die, but the sky still glowed orange with sun and ash. Rika and Kale moved quickly, staying low as they followed the broken highway out of the city. Their boots made no sound on the shattered ground. Every noise, every gust of wind, could mean pursuit. Kale's wounds were healing, but slowly. He leaned on a metal pipe for support as they paused behind a destroyed transport truck. Rika scanned the area ahead. Her visor displayed faint heat. Signatures, none too close, but none too far either. They were being tracked. She knew it with certainty. What now? Kale asked, wiping sweat from his face. We sent the message. Isn't that enough? Rika shook her head. The message won't stop them. It only wakes up others. Now we find those others. Or we die before they reach us. Her voice didn't shake. It never did. But Kale could tell the weight behind it was growing. The coded reply on her wristband kept blinking. Trust the stars. It was an old phrase used during the early peace talks between Zarnari and Terrans. Only someone deep inside would remember that. Whoever had sent the message wasn't just a random rebel. They were from the inside, or close to it. They moved toward an old shuttle hangar hidden under the cliffs. Rika remembered it from recon days. It wasn't on any new maps. That made it safe for now. They reached the entrance after 2 hours of careful travel. Kale was nearly limping by the end. She helped him down a ladder into the cool shadows below. The lights flickered to life as Rika tapped the manual override. Dust rained from the ceiling. Rusted tools lined the walls. A broken engine rested on a steel table, half covered in tarps. Kale sat down hard on an old crate, exhaling slowly. Reminds me of my old training camps, he said. Except quieter. Rika didn't smile. She walked the perimeter, setting up silent alarms and movement sensors. She placed a blast charge on the outer door, just in case. Only when she was sure they were safe did she sit beside Kale. Her rifle rested across her lap. Her fingers never left it. You were never trained to run, were you? Kale asked. Rika turned her head slightly. I was trained to win. When running is the only way to win. He chuckled softly and nodded. Makes sense. Still feels strange seeing a Zarnari protect a human with this much firepower. A low tone beeped on her wristband. Another message had arrived. It was encrypted but shorter this time. Midnight. Beacon Zone 12. Come alone. She read it twice, then showed it to Kale. His brow furrowed. It could be a trap. Rika nodded. It could also be our only chance to survive. Beacon Zone 12 was 4 kilometers east. It was marked dead and uninhabitable on all military maps. That meant someone wanted it hidden. She prepped her gear and looked at Kale. You stay. Here, if I'm not back by sunrise, find the next contact. The files are out now. You're the proof they're real. Kale didn't argue. He saw the look in her eyes. This wasn't a request. It was a command. She climbed back into the open. Night. The storm had passed and the stars were shining cold above her. She moved fast, silent, blending into the terrain like a shadow in armor. Beacon Zone 12 was once a satellite relay station. Now it was broken stone, cracked antenna towers, and silence. But when Rika arrived, she saw a single blue light. Blinking on the ground, a signal beacon. She approached carefully, weapon drawn. The wind carried no voices. Only the hum of old power cells remained. Suddenly, a shape stepped from the shadows. Female, Zarnari armor. Mask off, silver hair tied back, eyes sharp and familiar. You're late, the woman said. Rika stiffened. She knew that voice. Commander Arlen, she said. The woman nodded. You thought I was dead. But death is just a delay for the smart ones. Arlen had once been her mentor, a legend. Lost during a failed mission 5 years ago. But now here she was, alive leading something secret. Why? Rika asked. Why send the message? Arlen's smile was tired. Because I trained you to follow truth, not just orders. And now the truth needs soldiers again. She handed Rika a small device. Inside were names, codes, hidden. Safe zones, contacts in both Zarnari and Terran ranks. There are more of us than you think, Arlen said. But we needed proof. You gave it. Now we need action. Are you ready to fight your own command? Rika didn't hesitate. Yes. She said, I already started. Arlen placed a hand on her shoulder. Good. Then we begin tomorrow. But tonight you rest. You've carried the fire long enough. Rika looked back at the stars one last time before following her old commander into the dark shelter carved beneath the rubble. The underground shelter felt colder than the outside air. The walls were made of rough stone reinforced with steel beams. Rika followed Arlen through narrow corridors lit by low blue lights. Footsteps echoed softly behind them. They passed 3 armed guards, all with hidden insignias and old model rifles. This wasn't a base for war. It was a bunker for survivors. Inside a small chamber, a table showed maps and digital displays. A few men and women, both human and Zarnari, stood around it. They turned when Rika entered. One of them, a human in a faded commander's coat, nodded at her. So this is the soldier who burned the lie, he said. About time we met face to face. Arlen stepped forward. Everyone, this is Lieutenant Rika Varn. She didn't just expose Command's fake war. She saved the man who helped us all see it. Rika's eyes moved to the man standing quietly at the corner. It was Kale. He had made it here faster than she expected. He gave a small nod, and she returned it without speaking. The group spent the next hour reviewing data from the signal burst. Reactions from colonies, press channels, and even some military ranks had started. Some denied it instantly. Others demanded proof, but cracks were forming. The lie was no longer whole. It was bleeding, and people were watching. We can't stop here, Arlen said. Command will counter. They'll twist the truth, call it enemy propaganda, and use it to strike harder. We need to hit them before they rewrite the story. Rika leaned in. How? Arlen tapped a blinking point on the map. We take the relay on Vosk Hill. It's their last control node for outer broadcast. If we take it, they can't silence the wave. Kale cleared his throat. It's heavily guarded. Elite forces, automated defense grid. We'll need a small, fast strike team. Anything larger gets noticed. Arlen nodded. Then we go in shadows. 4 people. Rika leads. Kale supports. I'll be your third. The 4th will join us at launch. He's a drone hacker. No one flies machines better. The plan was set. Launch at nightfall. Infiltration through the canyon system below the hill. Disable the CUM relay. Upload the verified truth files again. And burn their false codes. It was fast, brutal, and risky. But it had to work. If Command regained control, everything would vanish under fire and lies. That night, Rika sat alone in a quiet room near the hangar. She cleaned her weapons, checked her armor seals, and stared at her helmet. She remembered every order she had followed, every lie she had swallowed, and every bullet she had fired in blind trust. It no longer made her angry. It made her focused. Kale entered without knocking. He limped slightly but stood taller than before. Can't sleep? He asked. She shook her head. Won't sleep. Not before this is over. He smiled and sat. Down across from her, we make a strange team. A traitor and a ghost. But we're all that's left to stop a machine that eats the truth. She met his eyes and spoke softly. You're not a ghost. You're the first reason I started asking questions. He looked surprised but said nothing. Instead, he handed her a small device, backup copy of the files. If things go bad, you run with it. Make it count. She took it without argument. There was nothing else to say. Just before launch, the 4th member arrived. A young Terran named Brex. He wore a pilot suit patched with rebel cloth and carried 2 drone packs strapped to his back. I'm not a soldier, he said quickly. But I can fly machines like birds. You need air cover. I'm your guy. Rika studied him for a moment and nodded. They entered the canyon under cover of darkness. The air was still. The night was silent. Each step forward meant no way back. At the halfway point, Brex released his recon drone. It flew low and silent, mapping the enemy defenses. They found 4 gun nests, a minefield, and 2 patrol squads. Rika adjusted their path without delay. She took out the first guard with a shock blade. Arlen silenced the second with a long-range dart. Brex jammed the cameras as Kale placed charges on the back wall of the relay station. Time moved like ice, slow and cold. Then the wall cracked open, and they rushed inside. Smoke, light, and the hiss of released pressure followed them. Inside, alarms rang. Soldiers poured in from the side halls. Rika led the charge, her rifle blazing short, precise bursts. Kale followed, setting fire traps and blocking exits. Arlen found the main panel and began uploading the truth data again. Brex kept the drones flying overhead, jamming all outgoing calls. Then a voice filled the room, cold, cruel, and sharp. It came from the top of the stairs. A tall Zarnari officer in black armor stepped forward. Rika Varn, he said. You were always a good soldier. It's a shame to watch you burn for the wrong side. Rika raised her weapon and answered without pause. No, I'm finally fighting for the right one. The black-armored officer stepped down the stairs slowly. Each step echoed through the relay room. His eyes locked onto Rika's without blinking. He held his weapon low, but his posture showed no fear. This was not a soldier on a mission. This was a hunter chasing a traitor. Rika tightened her grip on her rifle. Her breathing slowed. She knew him, Commander Stravik, one of the highest ranking enforcers of Zarnari High Command. He had trained generations of elite fighters, including her. He was a name every soldier feared, respected, and never wanted to meet in battle. You gave up everything, Stravik said, his voice calm. Rank, honor, your people. For what? A lie told by a broken human? He stepped closer. You don't know what you've done. You've torn open the skin of unity. It will bleed for generations. Rika didn't move. She kept her rifle aimed, but her voice stayed even. You lied to us. You built this war on shadows and silence. I saw the truth. I saw the files. I saw the bodies buried under your orders. Stravik raised his chin slightly. So you chose the humans over your own blood. I chose the truth, she replied. If that makes me a traitor, then I was never loyal to the right thing. Around them, the fight grew louder. Arlen was shouting updates from the console. Kale held the rear hallway. Breck sent 2 drone bursts to intercept a squad trying to flank. Stravik lifted his weapon. Then die for your truth. He fired. Rika dove to the side, her armor scraping metal. The bolts scorched the wall behind her. She returned fire with 2 quick bursts. One struck Stravik's shoulder. He flinched but kept moving forward. She had trained under him. She knew his tricks. They circled each other, trading fire, dodging cover to cover. Sparks flew. Heat swirled. The room felt smaller. With every step, Brex yelled from above. 1 minute to complete upload. Rika rolled behind a pillar and reloaded. Stravik kicked over a console, trying to destroy the broadcast. Kale rushed to stop him, firing low. Stravik turned and shot Kale in the leg. He dropped, groaning in pain. Rika screamed and charged. She tackled Stravik into a wall. They wrestled, metal crashing against metal. His strength was brutal, but hers came from more than muscle now. It came from purpose. He struck her helmet. Cracking the screen, she punched his chest, denting the armor. He reached for his knife. She drew hers faster. They clashed, blades scraping. His strikes were calculated, perfect. But she had something he didn't. She had learned from him. But she had also learned to break his rules. With a twist and sweep, she knocked him off balance. He stumbled. She jammed her knife under his arm joint, then fired her rifle point blank into his side. He dropped to his knees. His eyes burned with disbelief. You were my best, he whispered. You were supposed to lead them after me. Rika stepped back. Then maybe it's time for someone better. She turned as Arlen shouted, We're done. Upload complete. Alarm switch tone. The tower's system shut down. Emergency. Mode activated. The truth had spread again, further and deeper than before. The signal was too wide now. It could not be erased. Brex helped Kale up. Blood stained his leg armor, but he was still standing. Arlen moved to support him. Rika scanned the room. More enemies were coming, but not fast enough. She picked up Stravik's command chip from his armor and stored it in her belt. It held all his access codes. Outside, the team regrouped near a stolen scout transport. They climbed in as drones circled above. Brex took the controls. Rika covered the rear hatch. As they lifted off, she looked back at the burning relay tower. It collapsed in on itself, the flames lighting the sky. The lie was no longer hidden in shadows. Kale rested against the wall, pale but alive. You did it, he said. You fought your mentor and won. Rika didn't smile. I didn't win. We just made it harder for them to lie again. Arlen sat beside her, nodding. One step at a time. That's how revolutions begin. They flew toward the mountains where the next safe zone waited. New allies, more evidence. Plans to strike at the heart of command. But for now, they breathed. They survived. And survival was the only victory they needed tonight. The ship flew into the clouds, and the desert disappeared behind them. Rika stared out the window. Her mind replayed every shot, every word, every doubt. She had killed her mentor, saved her enemy, burned the order she once followed without question. And she had done it with clarity, not regret. This war wasn't over. But she knew what side she stood on now, and she wasn't turning back. The safe zone was hidden beneath layers of rock and cold. Deep inside the northern mountains, the entrance was carved into a cliff face behind a waterfall. Only those with access codes could enter. Brex flew the ship low and silent. As they landed, on the narrow platform, the water roared beside them like a warning not to trust the quiet. Arlen keyed in the passphrase. The steel wall split in two, revealing a dim tunnel lined with motion lights. Inside, humans and Zarnari moved together, shoulder to shoulder. No ranks, no borders, just survivors and rebels. They didn't salute Rika when she entered, they nodded. That was enough. Kale limped through the tunnel, supported by Brex. A medic ran to help and guided him away toward the lower medical wing. Rika watched him disappear, then turned to Arlen. He needs rest and answers. Arlen nodded. He'll get both. So will you. But first, someone wants to meet you. She led Rika deeper into the bunker. The walls changed from rock to smooth. Metal. This was older technology, Terran built, before the First War. The corridor opened into a wide chamber filled with screens and maps. At the center stood a woman in dark robes with silver patterns on the sleeves. Her hair was braided like old Terran warriors. Her face showed age and strength. She turned as Rika entered and smiled faintly. I've heard much about you, she said, the soldier who didn't follow orders. The one who found truth and chose fire. Rika stiffened. And you are? The woman stepped forward. My name is Soren Vale. I was once a peace minister before command erased my name. Now I lead what's left of the Terran Zarnari Truth Alliance. She offered her hand. Rika took it slowly. You're real, Rika said. They told us you died in the Red Collapse. Soren shook her head. They needed me gone. I refused to rewrite the treaties. She motioned to the center screen. Footage played battles, broadcasts, interviews, and reactions from across the system. The truth Rika had helped release was spreading. Some planets have begun to question command. A few units are standing down, but most still follow the lie. They fear change more than truth. Rika folded her arms. What do you want from me? Soren turned to her. We want you to lead, not an army, not a fleet, just a message. You were one of their best. You saw the worst, and you chose to fight back. That makes your voice stronger than any weapon. Rika looked at the screen. A paused image showed her dragging Kale from the ruins. They'll call me a traitor, Soren nodded. Let them. Traitors to lies become heroes to truth, but only if they speak. Rika remained silent for a moment, then she gave a slow nod. I'll do it, but not for the message. For the people who died believing the lie. Soren smiled. That's all we ever needed. She handed Rika a small disc. This will link you to every neutral broadcast tower still standing. Speak when you're ready, not before. Words only matter when they come from fire, not fear. Rika closed her hand around it. Later that night, she sat alone in the quiet room given to her. Her armor rested on the table beside her. Her rifle leaned against the wall. The room was simple. A bed, a light, and a screen. She loaded the disc and watched the old war reports play, edited footage, cropped faces, lies layered over truth. She thought of her first mission, the excitement, the pride, the false medal she had received after wiping out a village she thought was a rebel post. Now she knew better. That village had been a peace group, killed for existing in the wrong place. Her hands clenched. The door opened quietly. Kale entered. His leg wrapped, his face pale but calm. I'm supposed to rest, he said. But I couldn't sleep, Rika nodded. Neither could I. He sat beside her. For a while, they said nothing. Then Kale spoke. Do you regret saving me? Rika looked at him and answered without pause. No, I regret not seeing sooner. But I don't regret this path. He nodded slowly. Good, because this path isn't done yet. She handed him a data pad. We strike Command's core fleet next. Without them, the lie will collapse, but we need intel. Real-time movements. You know how to find them. Kale smiled faintly. I can try. I still have access to the old Terran ghost. Networks, buried deep, hard to reach, but not impossible. Rika leaned back. Then we start in the morning. No more shadows. No more waiting. If they want war, we give them truth and fire. The mountain trembled slightly from a distant tremor. The world outside was still at war, but inside that bunker, a new front was forming. Not of armies, not of empires, but of people who had seen the truth and refused to look away. The sun rose over the eastern ridge, painting the sky in deep gold and burning red. From the mountain ledge outside the bunker, Rika stood in full armor, her eyes fixed on the horizon. The signal tower at the far edge of the valley blinked once, then twice. That was the sign. The time had come. Behind her, the team assembled. Kale walked with a cane now, but his posture was strong. Brex tightened the straps on his drone pack. Arlen adjusted her weapon harness while Soren checked the final comms. Every person here had seen the lie. Every one of them had chosen not to look away. The target was simple. A mobile Zarnari fleet hub, currently stationed above the orbit of Krynos 4. It was the last command relay feeding false orders to nearly 70% of the outer colonies. If they cut the connection, the chain of lies would collapse from the center. Kale tapped the side of the old Terran console. Our ghost signal is in. If we slip in just under their relay burst, we can ride their broadcast line straight into the system. Brex nodded. And I've got 6 combat drones on standby. If they chase us, I'll give them something to regret. Rika checked her gear one last time. Her knife was sharp, her rifle clean, her heart steady. She looked to Soren. Are the neutral fleets ready? Soren replied, they'll hold until the moment you hit the relay. Once the truth floods in, their captains won't stay quiet anymore. The lie will break under their own silence. The shuttle lifted quietly into the sky. They rose above the snow peaks, then vanished into cloud cover. No words were spoken. Only focused breath and quiet thoughts. As they left the atmosphere, the stars greeted them with cold light. Rika sat beside Kale and stared ahead. He handed her a small metal tag. It had no markings. Just a single dent near the center. That was from my first mission, he said. I kept it because it reminded me that the first hit never leaves clean. But the second hit should always be truth. Rika placed it in her pouch without a word. When the ship neared the relay zone, alarms flared. Zarnari patrols had picked up movement. Brex took the controls and rolled the ship through a meteor pocket. The shaking was violent, but they passed undetected. Arlen shouted over the intercom, one click to the relay, everyone get ready. They dropped from the clouds like thunder. The relay floated ahead, shielded by 2 guard cruisers. Brex released 2 decoy drones and fired impulses. The first cruiser lost power. The second turned to fire but was blinded by a flash barrage. Rika and Arlen launched forward with grappling gear and crashed through the relay's hull. Inside, the corridors were narrow and glowing red with emergency lights. Zarnari soldiers scrambled to respond. Rika moved fast, taking down 2 guards with shock rounds. Arlen covered her flank, her steps exact and sharp. They reached the command panel in under 3 minutes. Kale appeared on their wrist display. I'm inside the system, uploading truth broadcast. 40% complete. Arlen kept watch as Rika held the panel steady. Sparks flew as enemy fire hit the outer shell. The relay shook. We have to hold, she said. Even if they breach, we hold. More soldiers approached. Arlen stepped into the hall, laying down suppressive fire. Brex activated remote drones from orbit. They descended like falcons, tearing through enemy units and disabling weapon turrets. The floor trembled as the main reactor surged with redirected power. Kale's voice crackled. Upload complete. Transmission sent across command's entire spectrum. They can't stop it now. The truth is loose. Rika pulled the main lever, shutting down the false command node. The lights faded. The system went dark. The silence that followed was not defeat. It was relief. From the windows they saw the fleet above begin to shift. Cruisers stopped firing. Fighters halted mid-path. A Terran flagship changed direction and sent out a universal ceasefire signal. Across 3 systems, military channels went quiet, not because of surrender, but because of doubt. Soren's voice came through the comms. We see it. It's working. Command is silent. Some colonies are cheering. Others are demanding trials. But the wave has started, and it's too big to control. Rika sat down slowly. Her armor was scorched. Her arms ached. But her heart was calm. They returned to the bunker hours later. News feeds glowed on every wall. Soldiers once loyal to command were laying down weapons. Old enemies were shaking hands. Survivors were speaking freely for the first time. And on every screen, the message was clear: truth had won. Rika stepped into the central chamber. Her team stood waiting. Arlen smiled. Kale nodded. Brex saluted with grease-stained gloves. Soren approached and whispered, "You didn't just end a war. You reminded the galaxy what courage looks like." Rika looked at them all, then spoke only one sentence. "Now we build something better."